morning. It is Wednesday, May 17th, 2017. It is straight up 9:30, and we are going to call to order the regular meeting for the Ottawa City Commission. Could we please have the roll call?
Yes. Mayor Kaler.
Present.
Commissioner Skidmore.
Present.
Commissioner Graves.
Present.
Commissioner Jorgensen.
Present.
I want to welcome those in the audience today, including our friends here in the front of our lovely desk. We welcome you all, and we welcome anybody who is listening either on KOFO or through another venue. We always want individuals to be a part of the City Commission, and we appreciate you being a part. So we are going to begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation, which will be led by Scott Dickinson, who is our Sheriff's Chaplain. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray together. Lord, we thank you for this another beautiful day in Franklin County in Ottawa. And Lord, we thank you for how you watch over and protect us. We thank you for all the things that are going on, the progress that's being made in our community, and for the way that we're looking forward to see what we can do as a community. We pray today for those folks who are struggling and may continue to struggle, but as a community, people reach out all the time on Facebook and other ways. I'm seeing people reaching out to help one another, and that's that kind of community we are. And I pray that we continue to do that. Lord, I pray for our law enforcement, fire, sheriff, and the EMTs and all those guys and gals, as this is Police Week, and we recognize them today, this week, but always, every week, and for the service that they do for us and for all of our communities, and we lift them up today. We thank you for the city staff and for the work that they do. Lord, protect them, watch over them, keep them well, and Lord, protect them. We thank you of our mayor, and we thank you for her leadership and her positive influence in our community, even yesterday with being in the paper and with the girls and the way that she handles everything. We thank you for her. Lord, watch over our families, watch over our friends, be with those who are reaching out to others. Lord, we thank you for so many things. Help us not to just sit back and whine, but put ourselves in a place where we can be helpful and moving forward. Thank you, Lord, for all you do for us. Thank you for this great day again. And watch us, over us, and watch over this group as decisions are made and as things are done. We pray that they do them wisely. We ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Commissioners, that moves us on to the items in our agenda, which we call the consent agenda. That includes the minutes from April 17th, 2017 study session, and the April 19th regular meeting, and the April 24th study session. We will make a slight adjustment to the consent agenda, which will include what I like to call 7.5, which is just a little playful addition that we will go through if the consent agenda is approved. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'll make that motion. We approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, that brings us on to 7.5, and I love that I can call it 7.5 because it just sounds odd, but it sounds fun. And that's kind of what the City of Ottawa is about having some fun. So I'm going to ask Wendy Lee and Fonda Rose to please come up to the podium to share the fun news that they have to share with us today.
Okay, I can go first. Okay. First, we want to call your attention to the logo for the day or the week. We'll figure out how to do that. And Wanda's here representing the Play Task Force, as am I in this particular moment. We want to let you know that we were designated once again as a Playful City, and we are celebrating. Whoops.
Yay!
So go ahead, Wanda.
Yay!
On behalf of Play Task Force, we're pleased to share that we've been designated as a Playful City for the 2017 school year. I'm sorry, I'm a teacher too. Forgot what hat I was wearing. This is our 8th year to be designated as a Playful City. There are 258 communities that have been designated as playful cities, and we are one of only 4 in the state of Kansas. So something to be proud of. Carlos and Franklin are here to help us celebrate. Okay, we love the fun that the puppets bring to all of our announcements, and just keeping our city fun and a happy place to be and a fun place to live. So, thank you.
We want to let you know that every year we put together an application, and it's usually a little bit different. I've been filling that out for 6 or 7 years, but I couldn't do it without the IT staff. So I want to give them a big shout out, both because they help us all year long promote the things that we do to be playful, but then when I get ready to put that application together, it's just easier with the kind of work that they do. And this year, we found out that last year, our social media campaign, we had the most interaction of the cities in the country. And so we were able to be a part of a webinar earlier this month to encourage other cities to use their social media to encourage our families to be more playful. We've done that, as you all know, with Hopscotch, with our capital investments in playgrounds. Last year we did a scavenger hunt as a part of our Playability Week. And this year we've got a new event happening tomorrow, so we'd encourage everybody to watch our Facebook page tomorrow to see what that is. It's going to be kind of a adult recess. So this isn't a thing necessarily for kids. This is a thing for everyone in the community. I also want to recognize our other partners in this effort. We have a number of volunteers, like Fonda, but we also have partner organizations that have been with us from the beginning, and those would be the ORC, USD 290, the library, the health department, ECAN, and others. And we really celebrate that. But we also want to thank you and certainly the city manager for the ability of staff to encourage this and support it every year. And we're just excited to be able to announce that again today. We'll be sending out news releases, there'll be tweets, Facebook posts, etc., and we'd love for you and the rest of the community to join us in that celebration, because we really are excited about being designated as one of 258 cities in the country.
That's great.
How many years is it that we've been a Play City?
8 years. This is our 8th designation.
Excellent, excellent. And tell us about the logo that somebody has designed. It's awesome.
Yes, Sarah Anzacek in the Community Development Department did this. And in years past, we think we've probably maybe focused a little bit too much on just kids. And while we want to encourage kids to play and teens with our new teen park issue, we also want adults to be playful. So we have all kinds of little folks. And my shirt was the one we started with way back, which was focused on kids. But we've evolved as an organization and as a community. And so as a part of the governing body's wish to do things that set us apart, we decided that for today and maybe for the next week, this could be a city logo that would be pushed out there to say, this is who we are. We're not just a city of Victorian buildings, but we're also a community that loves to play and bike and exercise and be healthy, and we want to encourage all those behaviors and try to continue to promote that through the amenities that we are blessed to have in Ottawa.
Awesome. Well, I think that I speak on behalf of the commission. We're excited that we're being playful and that we have that designation. Commissioners, anything else that you'd like to add to that? I think Commissioner Jorgensen for bringing this idea our way. Yeah, you're the kind of the grandfather of the. I'm being playful.
I appreciate it.
We'll look forward to seeing your posts on our Facebook
Yes.
about how you're playful over the next few days as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That brings us on to the regular agenda, and this is the part of the agenda of which we invite individuals from the community to come in as public comment. Is there anybody who has registered for public comment today?
Not today.
Okay. That doesn't mean that you can't come forward and at any time come and address the City Commission. We certainly want to hear from citizens. We appreciate individuals like Mrs. Rose who step up and say, you know, this community is important and we want to give back. And so we appreciate, of course, individuals who give in that way, but you can always come and just address us in any manner. We're excited to hear from you. Next, that brings us to declaration. At this time, I'd like to give commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication that they may have had that might influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially. Anybody? You have a granddaughter, right, that plays?
Oh, yes.
So
That was
you still
good for that.
Yeah.
so
Okay. Good. You
good
have
at
kids. You can come over and play with my kids. Play. Right? Your kids still play, right? We
Oh,
all
yeah.
as
We
adults.
all do.
We all do.
Yeah.
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 Come on. We can hopscotch at my house. You're
Cool.
good.
Yep.
Okay. Good. All right. Awesome. That brings us on to new business.
Proclamation recognizing May 20th, 2017 as National Kids to Parks Day.
In recognition of the 7th National Kids to Parks Day organized by the National Park Trust to introduce a new generation to our national parks, this proclamation will be accepted by Fonda Rose. And this proclamation is read by Commissioner Blake Jorgensen.
And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas May 20th, 2017 is the 7th National Kids to Parks Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust, and whereas July 29th is Ottawa's annual Play Day for 2017, and whereas outdoor play in our parks empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks as well as our local parks, and whereas it is important to introduce a new generation to our nation's parks because of the decline in park attendance over the last decade, and whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat the issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and high cholesterol, and whereas National Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and the outdoors, and whereas National Kids to Park Day and Play Day is open to all children and adults in Ottawa to encourage a large and diverse group of participants, and now therefore the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas does hereby proclaim to participate in National Kids to Parks Day and urges residents of Ottawa to make time May 20th, 2017 to take children in their lives to Forest Park, City Park, or to another neighborhood, state, or national park. Signed this 17th day of May 2017 by Sarah Kaler, the mayor.
Thank you. Mrs. Rose, would you like to come forward? Awesome. Thank you. We'd love to hear from you if you have more to share with us.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for the support that you give us. It really makes being the chairperson for Play Task Force fun and easy, knowing that I feel like you have my back. I mean, I can come to you with anything, any silly, crazy idea, and I know you're going to be open and listen to it and really consider what is this going to do for our city. So I want to thank you for your support. I want to announce that July 29th is our Play Day again this year. It will be in Forest Park, and tentatively time is going to be from 10 to 1. All kinds of different games. Whole family can play. You know, bring your neighbors, bring your friends to Forest Park July 29th. So again, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. That brings us to the next item on the agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 2017 as Building Safety Month.
The International Code Council Foundation created the Building Safety Month to expand awareness of the importance of a safe and sustainable built environment and critical role of building and fire codes and code officials. City Inspector James Sherman will accept the proclamation, which will be read by Commissioner Skidmore.
And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the city is committed to recognizing our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic value of the homes, the buildings, and infrastructure that serve our citizens both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety, fire prevention officials, designers, contractors, design professionals, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a U.S.-based organization that brings together local, state, and federal officials that are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, work, learn, and worship, play, and whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of the community's largely unknown guardians of public safety, our local code officials who assure us of safe, efficient, and livable buildings that are essential to keep America great. And whereas code officials, partners in community safety and economic growth, the theme for Building Safety Month 2017 encourages all Americans to raise awareness of the importance of building safe and resilient construction. Building Safety Month 2017 encourages appropriate steps everyone can take to ensure that the places where we live, learn, work, worship, and play are safe, and recognizes that countless lives have been saved due to the implementation of safety codes by local and state agencies. And now, therefore, the governing body, the City of Ottawa, Kansas, does hereby proclaim the month of May 2017 as Building Safety Month in the City of Ottawa, and urges all citizens to consider projects to improve safety at home and in the community, and to recognize the local building safety and fire prevention officials and the important role they play in our public safety. Signed the 17th day of May 2017 by our Mayor, Sarah Kaler.
All right, Mr. Sherman, would you like to come up? All right, excellent. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, there you go.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate it. We're going to be hosting an open house in our department next Wednesday, the 24th, at 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning. So if citizens would like to come by and chat and interact with staff, if they have home improvement questions, or any of the local contractors have something that they'd like to sit down and visit with, we've made time. A little coffee and donuts and juice. We also want to express our gratitude to our director, Wendy Lee, our city manager, Richard Einstead, and the mayor and commission for the support you give to us to carry our duty day to day and making sure that Ottawa was a great and livable community that it is. Thanks,
Wonderful,
Mayor.
thank you. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Request for approval of resolution for naming of Teen Park.
Following a generous $50,000 donation from the Goppert Foundation, the Play Task Force recommends the foundation's the approval of the foundation's wishes to name the park Goppert Teen Park. Goodness, I'm going to read that again.
I like the first.
I know. Following a generous $50,000 donation from the Goppert Foundation, the Play Task Force recommends approval of the foundation's wishes to name the park Goppert Teen Park. And I believe that Mrs. Lee and Mrs. Rose will be here again. We're so excited to see you once again, and this is an exciting time for parks here in our community.
It is. We were thrilled with the gift from the Goppert Foundation, and certainly appreciate Commissioner Skidmore's help with that, as well as yours, Mayor Kaler. This is the second $50,000 gift we've received for this park, but the first one was an anonymous donation, and they didn't seek any kind of recognition or naming. And for the public's sake, the Play Task Force, when they originally created the budget, had a number of naming gifts that were available, and the largest of those was a $50,000 gift designated to name the park. And so this recommendation is really in keeping with what the original goals were, but we also don't want the community to think that's the end of it. We still have plenty of funds to raise. We want to, after the naming, should you go ahead and pass that today, that resolution, we will post a banner over at the site to let folks know that we're still fundraising. We have a number of other naming opportunities still available if someone's interested in that. We certainly hope that the local community joins us in celebrating both this gift as well as the opportunity to provide a really new amenity to both Ottawa, Franklin County, and really our region for our teens to have challenges and opportunities to play basketball and do skateboarding and other events at that location. And so we're happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Commissioners, are there questions for either Mrs. Lee or Mrs. Rose regarding this resolution request?
Just one question about the teen park. We found that there are no other ones like this that's planned in the state of Kansas. Is that correct? But
To our knowledge, no.
or even regionally, we just wonder if that's a rare thing for us to have this here.
Yes, as you know, we've heard of senior playgrounds, but not really anything designated a teen park. And one of the things that we promoted all through this was the original vision and dream was to have the best teen park in the country or the state or whatever that works out to be. We know some of the playground providers are starting to come up with equipment that is more challenging maybe to teens or young adults or I guess any adult that feels like they want to climb something really high or a challenge in fitness. Relative to this, we have one set of equipment that's kind of like the American Ninja Warrior. That would be the kind of thing that would be here, and that's starting to gain in popularity around the country.
That's great.
It's an exciting time for teens in our community.
It
We're
is.
excited to welcome other teens, too.
And Public Works is anxiously
Yes.
working on trying to get to the installation of concrete this year and as much equipment as we can get in. So,
Excellent. Commissioners, I would entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner,
I move that we approve the resolution naming the new teen park.
is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution naming the teen park Goppert Teen Park. Is there any discussion? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
On the side of caution, I'll abstain. However, there's a tie. I will abandon my principles and vote.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Kaley?
I must save Commissioner Skidmore. Yes, he doesn't have to abandon any of his ideals or principles. Motion carries. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Request to endorse the Kansas Independent College Finance Authority Revenue Anticipation Notes 2017 for Ottawa University.
Through the Kansas Independent College Authority, Ottawa University annual draws on short-term financing to help the university bridge the summer months. The city's bonding authority is used as a conduit to allow this financing, but there is no obligation placed upon the city. This debt strictly belongs to the university. I believe that we have Mr. Riberty and Mr. Bird that will address this matter. Who is coming to... Because I'm throwing the ball to whomever is coming first.
Oh,
I know, right?
hey, good catch.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll let Mr. Riberty throw it back to me. See how that goes. Just saying.
I'm just here to
No
introduce
pressure.
Clerk Rewardy and let him explain what's going on, but to reemphasize that there is no obligation placed on the city.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation. We've been participating in this program for years. I welcome the opportunity to go through it again with you. This year, it's exactly as you mentioned. It's through the Kansas Independent College Finance Authority. They back the bonds. It's issued for behalf of several schools. Ottawa participates in this program every year, and it is a short-term operating line of credit that we use, as you mentioned, to get us through the summer months. The way that works is we start paying that money back in February, March, and April each year, and then it's fully paid out. So we're at zero now. This loan will fund at the end of June if it's approved, and which we have no reason to believe it won't be. And then we'll participate in that. And then again in February, March, and April 2018, we will pay that obligation back down to zero. So I have several points here that I'm happy to go through if necessary. The mayor's approval is a formality. It's required under IRS Code Section 147F. It must be approved by the highest elected official within the city. And then there is a public hearing that is necessary, but that's handled already through the KICFA organization. Again, as you mentioned, the city's not on the hook for this. This is an Ottawa University obligation. We pay it back, but the city is the conduit. So we appreciate that. We have been participating for over a decade. Again, we join with other schools. It's a negotiated public sale, so these bonds are sold or purchased by an institutional buyer, usually like a Stern Brothers, and then they sell those out to their investors. So that's kind of how it works mechanically. I'm happy to answer questions if there are any.
Any questions, commissioners?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner.
I move to approve the request for the endorsement of the CANRAN, or the Kansas Independent College Finance Authority bonds.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the endorsement of the revenue anticipation notes. Is there any discussion among commissioners? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Mayor Kayler?
And I vote yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Bring it here. Come on, Clark.
I know,
Just-
I know. I'm so there you go.
No!
Thank you very much.
Yes. Next, item 14 on the agenda.
Resolution to waive the statutory requirement to use GAAP-based accounting for fiscal year 2017.
This is a resolution authorizing the City of Ottawa, Kansas to request the Director of Accounts and Reports to waive the statutory requirement to use GAAP-based accounting for the reporting fiscal year of 2014. And I believe Mr. Byrd will be addressing that. Here, one more time. Oh, see, oh, sorry, Tyler, you're going to have to, oh, Adrian, help. I know, right?
Must be the seat of power if you're holding the globe.
The orb.
The orb, yes. Thank you. This is an annual event for us, as it is for most Kansas cities our size and smaller. What this does is waive us out from underneath the statutory requirements that we will use GAAP-based accounting. We do use GAAP-based accounting, but not in its entirety. And in order to do that, it would cost the city considerable amount of money to get to that point. And so we come to you again this year asking for this resolution to be adopted. One of those onerous things would be to inventory all of the city's infrastructure on a cost basis to include the electric lines, water lines, sewer lines, streets. And while we are moving that direction, that is, the Utilities Department is actually moving that direction, we're not there yet. And there are some other rules and regulations that we would have to abide by. So it's just, this is a cost measure for us for the most part. So ask that the governing body approve this resolution.
Mr. Byrd, it doesn't, as you had stated, it doesn't mean that we are going against any best practices. We are still maintaining our best
Yeah,
practices.
We absolutely maintain our best practices, and I will say that finance staff is moving us in a positive direction almost daily, along with the accounting system that was implemented in 2013. We're using it more and more, which continues to move us in a positive direction in our financials.
Commissioners, are there questions for Mr. Byrd?
Now, Mr. Byrd, are there any other cities that you know of that are under the GAAP-based accounting? Like you said, larger cities. Do you know of any that actually do it that way?
Yeah, there are several cities that are.
They are.
The larger cities that are using GAAP-based accounting.
Yes, they do that,
And,
okay.
and doing full CAFRs and those types of things.
Okay.
And Scott, the GAAP-based accounting is cost-based, and when you take a city that's over 100 years old and has had streets and sewers and infrastructure installed, and going back and figuring out what the cost was, and would be a daunting task. It really doesn't add anything to the bottom line or the quality of services we provide. So it's not a big issue to depart from that, and we have a cash-based accounting primarily within the city.
We do a cash-based accounting, and actually the auditors look at us as, in an accrual basis as well too, but not as thoroughly as if we were under GAAP-based. But you make a good point to come up with those costs. The records don't exist any longer for some of that infrastructure, and it would all be based on estimates.
Yeah.
If there are no other questions, I would entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion we approve item 14 on the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion among commissioners? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Mayor Kayler?
And I vote yes, motion carries. Awesome, thank you. Next, that brings us to the next item on the agenda.
Request for approval of resolution accepting sanitary sewer improvements.
Improvements were made to the sewer system in the city's utility easement at 925 West 7th Street in Ottawa, and I believe Mr. Bueller will be addressing this matter today.
Yes,
Mr.
Madam Mayor,
Bueller?
Commissioners, what you have before you...
Oh, wait. Oh, wait, you've got to have you've got to have the authority.
Got it. What you have before you is the final piece of accepting private investment into our public infrastructure as just that, public infrastructure. Calvary Baptist Church in 925 West 7th desired to put a small addition on the north side of their property, and since their property is bounded on the north and the east by public sanitary sewer, it became necessary to move it. They did their due diligence, did the engineering, helped us do the paperwork to get it to KDHE for approval. If you recall, in January, an ordinance was passed that put a quit claim to vacated the easement that it did exist on the piece that was taken out. It was all done with the auspices of the city engineer. The piece has been in place and working satisfactorily, and so that's why that resolution is before you to where we can accept this private investment as public for our ongoing maintenance.
Commissioners, are there any questions for Mr. Bueller?
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner?
I move to approve the request to accept the sanitary sewer improvements as described in item 15 of the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Any discussion among commissioners? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Kayler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries. It's the first bounce. And that was not easy to do. I mean, you really had to have an eye to hit right there. So good job. Thank you, Mr. Bueller. Next item on the agenda.
Request for approval of resolution for the consideration of a redevelopment project plan for a redevelopment district.
This resolution sets a public hearing for June 21st, 2017 at 9:30 a.m. to consider adoption of the redevelopment project plan in the Northwest I-35 and Princeton TIF district. Mrs. Lee, here you go. It's all right. Let it be.
I have another one.
Okay. Ooh.
There's the thrower. There we go.
All right.
Shot.
All right, so we discussed this Monday at the study session, but we wanted for the public's benefit to do a little bit of a PowerPoint this morning. And this is an abbreviated show from what we've done with other, both the governing bodies of the city, county, and school district, as well as the planning commission. But a TIF's purpose is really to help us develop and redevelop for both our residents as well as the state of Kansas. And that's just set out by the statutes that gives us both the parameters in which we can do this project, but also the ability to do it. Tax increment financing plays for the public improvements. That's really part of our policy. That's our primary objective, is to alleviate the need for the city to install infrastructure for a project. And the kinds of things could be roads, sewers, water, power. It could also be for gas lines if there was a need. It wouldn't necessarily have to be infrastructure owned by the city. There are other eligible costs, but our policy really calls for there to be that kind of a need before we establish a TIF district or a TIF project. So again, that infrastructure. It also allows for site work, land acquisition, administrative costs, the developer costs for engineering, et cetera, for that infrastructure. It does not finance the private building or personal property. Okay. When we're putting something together, there are a couple of different steps, and there are times when people can be confused. First, you have to create a redevelopment district, and in this case, we created the redevelopment district back in January. You have to define the area that's eligible. You have to say whether there's just one project area or multiple, and kind of describe the kinds of things that would need to happen for that redevelopment district. The second stage is a redevelopment project plan, and it's based on a redevelopment project. So we are going to talk a little bit more today about the project plan and the project, really just to set the stage for that hearing. Just in case you wanted to know, we have a timeline that's set out by the statute, and then it's actually very complex that we have in-house for staff, but this is an abbreviated one that shows we completed the district formation. There are times when we are working on the project hearing even ahead of the district formation being through its protest period. But in this case, that stage is complete. So now we're on to the project plan. The Planning Commission held their hearing on May 10th, a week ago, and then recommended to you in a resolution to call for the project plan. And then we have a number of other stages yet to go before this project can be considered complete, if it makes it through all that stage. In this illustration, we have the project, or the district area in orange, and then the project is here in blue. So it is the southern, about 1/3 of the district. And when we did the original district plan, we kind of called out several different areas. And this is one of those areas. The other was kind of the eastern group of developed buildings, and then this other northern area that's in need of redevelopment. And as you'll recall, one of the things that led to this, well, a couple of things that led to this district being created is the need for a street to be extended so that we could have full development of this land, and to improve the safety of Princeton between 23rd Street and the ramps for I-35. In this project plan, the things that are a part of the project plan that you have in the full detail in your packets as well as what's online is that street construction, indications of some utility work, although we're not fully through the site planning stage, so I wouldn't tell you that we have identified all of that, but we know that we are planning a looped water line. There may be need for replacement or enlargement or extension of some other utilities for those lots to be fully developed all the way to the west where there hasn't been development before. Certainly, anyone who drives in that area understands that one of the reasons for doing this, and one of the things that was important to the Planning Commission, is at a gateway. There's some site cleanup and demolition and clearing and grading that needs to occur. There's debris on this site. It's certainly not an attractive site if you are traveling in that area or using the trail. So it's good that that's an eligible cost, because it would benefit the community to have that complete. In addition to sidewalks, storm drainage work, landscaping, some gateway amenities if those are identified, lighting, engineering, etc. There's no relocation necessary for this project. The actual redevelopment itself is proposed to be a 4-story hotel, 81 rooms with a swimming pool, fitness, meeting room, along with paved and lighted parking. In addition, they have a site that would be a restaurant or could be a retail. That's not firm, the restaurant, but could be either a restaurant or retail, about 2,500 square feet and some additional parking. Their projections at this point indicate the project costs to be about $9 million. The public infrastructure, as I just said, would be a new street from 23rd south to that project area with sidewalk, along with stormwater work and other infrastructure site work to be fully identified, but it's requested at this point to be about $2.2 million. This is the site layout, which we didn't have available on Monday for you. I just didn't think to show it to you, but this is Princeton. This is the ramp to southbound I-35. This is the trail over here on the west side. I'm sorry, this is actually the trail. That's the ramp. So the trail abuts this site on the west and on the south. This would be the proposed hotel with parking around. This would be proposed their access to the new street. This is the current H&R building, if that helps people locate. This would be the pad site for the retail or restaurant. And if additional, there's some additional things down here in the green space. So the Planning Commission's role was to review the project as described thus far relative to the comprehensive plan, and the hotel and restaurant and or retail comply with both our zoning and our future land use plan. The redevelopment of a gateway area actually furthers goals in the comprehensive plan, and I believe Commissioner Jorgensen was on the Planning Commission when we talked a great deal about gateway areas. And certainly this allows us to redevelop that and to incorporate needed amenities into that. In addition to develop the full site, which is a good land use and just planning land use objective always is to fully utilize available land before you extend into other areas. and it decreases just the current dependence on frontage, but allows us to further develop those sites. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. Certainly our bond counsel, both Tyler and Adrian, are here if we have questions about that. We do want to say, for the sake of the public, that this is just calling the hearing, that at the hearing we have an opportunity to hear. There is still work that is occurring both with the project and with staff, because the TIF and the CID, which will be the second action here, incentives are still being negotiated. There's nothing finalized at this point. This is simply to call the hearing so that we can go through all of that with the public and be very transparent about that. We have met with the developer. We are, as Tyler put it, fine-tuning the negotiation and expect to do that still for several more weeks. But we are excited at the opportunity to redevelop that corner. I would tell you from staff's position, we have looked at a number of developments over the years, and in every case we have advocated that a TIF project be a part of that in order to get that street in there. That is a need for the safety of the community, and we're glad that these developers are willing to work with us on that. And then the last thing I'd say that I'd help the Planning Commission understand how this works is if we, the city, which we, the city staff, believe that that's the right thing to do for safety, if we did not have a TIF project in order to consolidate those funds, it would put the city possibly responsible to extend that street, and the city would have to either borrow or find the funds to do this. In a case like this, the developer puts the funds that they pay for it first, and then the increment is created and they're able to recover those expenses. But it does allow the city tax dollars to not be affected. So the general taxpayer is actually held harmless from the development, even though they benefit from the development. So, any questions?
Commissioners, do you have questions for Mrs. Lee?
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner?
I move to approve the request to set the public hearing as described in item 17 of the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion among commissioners? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries. I'm waiting. Oh, you're not going to throw me the ball back? It's all right. You can keep it because you're going to, it's all right.
Talk again.
Oh, it's all right. The next item.
Request for approval of resolution providing for the notice of a public hearing concerning the advisability of the creation of a Community Improvement District, CID, within the city and declaring the intent to levy a CID sales tax.
Madam Mayor, point of order. The motion that I made was out of order. Which was to set the public hearing. Therefore, I move to approve the request for the resolution for consideration of the redevelopment project plan as described in item 16 of the agenda.
Okay. So you've amended your motion.
I have.
And
yes.
would you be
And I
okay with?
amend that second. Yes.
Second?
Yes.
Would you like us to vote once again, or would it be, commissioners? Do you have an issue with that? I don't know that we
We
the
took them out of
legality of it
order,
is,
but
yes.
we probably ought to vote on it.
Yeah.
Okay, we can vote again.
Yeah.
With the amended motion, let's vote once again, and then we will move forward.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes, motion carries. The amended motion carries. Thank you for catching that, Commissioner Jorgensen. Appreciate that. So that moves us on to this item, on item 17, which this resolution sets a public hearing for June 21st at 9:30 a.m. to consider the advisability of the creation of a CID and the imposition by the city of a 1% CID sales tax within the CID. And if I had another ball, I was going to throw it to Tyler or to Adrian. I think you should just throw it at them.
Oh, Adrian was
Here you go.
worried.
That's okay. Oh! Nice. So Mrs. Lee and Tyler and Adrian with Kutak Rock. Sorry, I know I didn't get it right, but I was so impressed by the catch that you did. Rock are here to answer any questions that we have regarding this issue. Mrs. Lee.
Our CID policy limits applications to 1%, and the applicants have indeed asked for that at this stage. Again, we're still working through all the financials. In order to place a CID, 100% of those within the boundaries have to sign the petition. And so in this case, that is one parcel. That parcel has been signed by the application has been signed by the owner of that parcel. And it would apply to everything within that. So if we end up with 2 tracks or even 3 at some point, anything that generates sales tax, and that parcel would have this additional up to 1% imposed on those who shop there or use the facilities there. This sets the hearing as well, and just for the public's benefit, all of the intent is to hold as much as we can on that June 21st date, the details of the project, so that people don't have to come to a series of meetings or try to stay tuned with what's changing as we go through. So it's our objective to hold all of those things at the same time. The developers were willing to be here today, but because it was just calling the hearing, we didn't ask them to do that, but I certainly appreciate that our council is here and guides us. We also have one other person, part of the team, and that's Bruce Kimmel, who's our financial advisor in our projects like this, and we do a series of phone calls and emails almost every day, refining the project so that you would have the most information available for your decisions as we move forward. But we're here to answer any questions if you have any.
Commissioners, do you have questions for Mrs. Lee or for the individuals who have really great skills in receiving unsolicited fund?
I guess
Just in a meeting. It's probably the first time in a commission meeting this has ever happened, right? Probably not the last, though, I'm just saying. Okay, but commissioners, do you have questions?
I had a question on this. So on the 1% sales tax, that would include also a proposed restaurant. That's going to be located in the
Yes.
same area, right? So
Restaurant or
whatever-
retail space, and
whatever it
that's what
is,
they've
it'll
told us.
be-
It would be an outlot, and it would include that. yes.
Okay, very good. Not just a hotel. All
Not
right.
just the hotel.
All right, gotcha.
Any other questions?
Oh, Mayor, could I make one more
Yes.
point? One of the significant differences between a TIF and a CID is these funds can be used for vertical construction. So that's one of the reasons
Should be
why
noted.
applicants ask for combinations so that they can, and the reason that they've indicated to us is that the room rate that they would charge in Ottawa is not necessarily comparable with the room rate they might charge in a larger community, but the construction costs are very comparable. So.
Commissioners, any additional questions? If not, I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner?
I move that we approve the resolution for the public hearing as presented in item 17.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion among, with the motion that is on the table?
Didn't we vote on this already?
Just being playful. I appreciate you being playful through this meeting with the, because I figure that probably in a second, 3 balls are going to come this way, so I'm just
Oh.
wanting everybody to be prepared, which we totally should be ready. I mean, we deserve it at this
That's right.
point. So let's proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries.
Actually, I thought maybe we'd let them keep them as a symbol of.
Oh, ooh, I don't know. See, Adrian won't even give his up. He's like, please, I'm not giving it up. That's right. Exactly.
That was a secret.
A darn super glue. Okay, Tyler, come on. No.
Office better.
There you go. Excellent. That moves us to, you ready? You ready? Are you ready? Report by our city manager. Look, good job.
Just a reminder that your joint city, county, school district meeting is at lunch here, and this month it will just be joint city and county.
Okay. That moves us on to reports by our city commissioners. Commissioner Jorgensen.
No report this morning.
Commissioner Skidmore.
No report.
Commissioner Graves.
I just wanted to say, as Wendy Lee had mentioned, that to keep an eye on social media for our playful challenges this week and really all summer long. I think we're going to try to come up with several, so it should be fun.
Excellent. That moves us on to a report by the mayor, and I do have one huge sigh of relief to see Glora Matthews back in the room. Welcome back, Glora. We have missed you. We have missed you, so welcome back. We're glad you're back among the wonderful city employees that we have. That moves us on to announcements. As our city manager had indicated, we have our joint lunch meeting today here at City Hall at noon. We have the police memorial service at Faith Lutheran Church at 6 p.m. tomorrow. And on the 22nd, study session at 4 p.m. The 29th, which is Memorial Day, the city offices will be closed and study session has been canceled for that day. We will pick up study session on the 5th of June, and we will have a regular meeting at 7 p.m. on June 7th. If there's nothing else to be brought before the body today, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say Playful City. Oh! All those, nobody said Playful City, we're staying.
I said it.
Okay, he said it,
Yeah.
good. All those opposed? Yeah, I was gonna say pop a balloon, but see, there you go. Same sign? All right, we're adjourned.